Alright, today I got a new package. It's a TIG welder from Primeweld. I've never used a TIG welder before, and so this will be my first time, and so there's going to be a little bit of a learning process before I try and do anything on the truck fender here. But I thought it might be fun to do a little unboxing video, see what it's like. One thing I've heard is that the other welder I was considering was the Harbor Freight. I think it's a TIG 205. This welder appears to be the same features, but for significantly less money. And so it seems like there's no downside, except the downside might be is that the warranty, if there is a problem, there's Harbor Freight stores everywhere, and you can go in and exchange it and get a new one. This one, there are no Primeweld stores, but the warranty they offer to pay the shipping for me to ship this back to them to repair it and ship it back here. So that's pretty cool. The other thing was that there was no shipping when I bought it directly from them. So I mean, it was done deal, and it was here in I think 3 days, and so that's pretty cool. So here we go. The basic features of this welder are that's an AC and DC TIG and stick welder. I don't have anything to weld in aluminum just yet, but there is a couple of projects that I am looking at in the future, and so that's why I chose this one. If you just want a DC TIG welder straight, there's a bunch of different options, even some down into the $200 range. So that's pretty cool. I've not used them, but I've seen a few people that have used them, or I've seen videos of a few people who've used them, and seem to be okay for very basic, very basic TIG welders. The other thing that I wanted to make sure I got that you can't get on those really small TIG welders is the high frequency start. Most of the smaller ones you have to scratch start them, and I think that's just taking the tungsten electrode and striking it or scratching it on the surface that you're trying to weld to initiate the arc. And so I don't even know what that is or what it's like, but it sure sounds a lot easier to just push a button and have it start. So that's why I picked this one up. So welder manual. Looks like it's boxed pretty good. It's got reinforcement. Part of my day job is opening up a bunch of boxes that get shipped all across the world and seeing how they get damaged. And so this one I have decent hopes for, that they actually paid attention and put something in the corners. So that's nice. Probably should this box. Probably should have done this on the floor. Oh, I see what's going on. Nice big foam. Nice big foam packaging. Looks like it should keep it pretty well protected. Looks pretty good. Let's get. I don't know if I'm going to be strong enough to lift this out of the box, but we're going to try. We're going to tilt it over a little bit. See if we can get this box off. Alright, there's one more box in here though. Pretty decent packaging. I'm actually surprised. I've seen a couple of reviews where they do talk about the packaging, and this is actually pretty well packaged for something that I'm not sure it's made in the United States. So let's see if it says where it's made anywhere. I know they have customer service that says in the U.S., and so that's a good sign. I don't have to call a foreign country at weird hours to try and get someone to talk to me if there is a problem. Well, the other feature that was important to me was that it had to be I wanted something that could work on 220 as well as 120, because right now I only have 120, and I'm just going to be starting out with some thin sheet metal, but I'd like to be able to do to run 220 for some bigger gauge stuff eventually. So that was one of the other features. Let's see. One of the other things that kind of tipped me in the favor of this one over the Harbor Freight was that, let's see if it was, well, before we get to that, that one was kind of funny. There's the welding mask. I don't know how useful that'll be, but maybe my son can play with that while he's out here with me. Maybe I can use that for a camera lens to go over, see if we can show what welding's like. Comes with a foot pedal. I heard in some other reviews that the foot pedal that came with these was not the greatest, although I saw a couple other more recent reviews that said they swapped out the foot pedal for something better. So this looks like it's pretty decent Primeweld. It's even branded after them, so maybe they revised it. So let's see. Comes with a ground clamp. That's pretty standard. It's very similar to my MIG welder. I've seen some better clamps that you can get that I may try and take advantage of. This one looks pretty. Actually, I don't know. My Lincoln MIG welder looks like it might be a little bit better, heavier duty ground clamp than that, but. You may upgrade that, who knows. Other thing, I guess that's a stick welder clamp. I don't plan on ever using that, but I suppose it's nice to have, at least know that I can use it if I want to. And that's a gas hose. So supposedly the welder comes with everything that you need to get started except for argon, and so we're going to find out. Oh, this is the flow gauge, the regulator. I've actually read that that was the other thing, is these come with a decent ball bearing regulator or flow meter, so that's pretty cool. I don't know that it's anything special, although it's branded Primeweld, so at least they've taken some thought into it. So put some thought into it instead of just going and buying the cheapest one they could. Let's see. This must be the other stuff. There we go. Let's put that. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Is that supposedly a lot of the cheaper welders, you either don't get a welding torch at all, or you get a really cheap one. And this one comes with supposedly is a pretty good CK flexible TIG torch, and so I'm pretty excited about not having to buy a bunch of extra accessories. So I don't know if this, yeah, it is flexible. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to I may even try and take some online training or something before I even try and use it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to be that patient, but we'll see. Comes with a TIG torch. Well, it must be the other gas valve, or where the gas plugs in. Got a little, not sure what that is, but we'll have to read the directions. Comes with some cups and a tungsten that's sticking out of the bag. Could maybe be a little more careful doing that, but it did survive. And so it's got a couple of number 6 cup, a number 5, and a number 7. And it looks like a couple of valves and little adapters there. In addition to that, it's got what looks like I think it's a switch. Yeah, I think it's a little finger switch for the torch, so you can run it either with a pedal, either with a foot pedal or with the finger switch. I don't know how you do that, but I may try it and we'll see. The last thing comes with a 120 to 220 adapter, so that's probably what I'll be using. That is a big adapter. So let's see. So let's take a look at the welder. One of the other things that was kind of cool is that I heard is that while it doesn't come with a water-cooled setup, but I've read that it comes with setup to be able to use a water cooler. And now I'm not sure, that may be what that is, and so let me turn that around here. I'll have to get the user manual. So it's got the power switch, argon input, and then it's got a 110, 220 input here. And let's see if we can get a diagram that says what that plug is for. Number 6. Connection designed to supply power to 110, 220 dual voltage water cooler. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's number 6 on there. And so that's what that plug is. I don't know that I'll ever be able to need a water cooler, but it sounds like it might be something if I really enjoy this and end up doing a lot of it. That'll be kind of nice to be able to weld without getting burnt. Or at least weld a very long time without getting burnt. So, other thing here, we can spin it around. I've heard the cooling fan is quite loud, like a lot of the cheaper ones. It doesn't have a PWM control where it turns the fan up as the unit gets hot and turns the fan down as it cools down. So, it sounds like when it's on, and it's like a hurricane blowing. But that was worth a trade-off for me, I think. Doesn't have any of the digital touch screens or anything. It just has a knob for each individual setting. That was kind of nice, especially because I don't know what all the settings for TIG welding are, and so being able to see them all at a glance and at least be able to question what is that thing and should I mess with it, or just being able to see everything all at once is kind of a neat idea. Although it does kind of make it a bit messy. At least messy looking. All the dials seem they're pretty tight. They're not wiggly and loose fitting like some of the other ones I've seen. My Lincoln TIG MIG welder has voltage control that's just stepped in 4 increments, and so that was one of the other things I don't like about that, is because I can't fine tune the voltage between. Usually it's either too hot or it's not hot enough, and so I'd like to be able to. It's nice to be able to go in between and kind of fine tune it where I want it, especially if you're doing sheet metal. I don't need to blast through that, but I also need a really hot. And if you ever done sheet metal butt joints, you really need a really hot tack, really quick, and you don't want to linger on it at all because it'll just build up weld material or it'll just burn right through it. So you just want to get it right out there, buzz it, and you want to turn it off so it just cools down really quick. But the weld lays down really nice. Alright, so I got the machine set up. I got a tank of gas. I did do one bit of just a fusion spot just to see what happens. I figured it might just be fun to just try and fusion weld 2 pieces of this. I think it's 16 gauge sheet metal. So we'll see how it goes. I don't expect that it's going to be very good, but I don't have any filler wire, so just have to see if I can fusion weld it just for fun. I've got it set up for 50 amps, no pulsing, no nothing, just straight up go for it. don't think it joined it. Nope. Not nearly hot enough, I think. Let's see if we can go. We'll turn up the starting current and we'll go maybe 75 amps. Doesn't like something. Looks like it tried to arc to my magnet, so that's it's definitely hot enough. Yeah, I started burning through. So I almost could use some filler wire. Except I don't have any, so I guess I could use big filler wire just for fun. But I still think I'd like to get the remember not to move the torch away because it's got gas flowing after I'd stopped. So I gotta remember to stop, hold it there. I think I got it set for about 5 or 6 seconds. I don't even know if you can hear me because the fan is so loud, but I did get a fusion weld there, so that's pretty cool. Brian's first TIG weld. That was the first kind of low amperage pass trying to join it. I think I'm used to TIG welding, so I kind of started in the middle, assuming that the wire was going to be blowing in there and filling up the gap. But that's actually not what happens with a TIG. So, and that was where I turned up the heat, and it kind of just blew through the center. And so that's my first one. So I don't know. It's actually pretty good. If I could join my fender patch panel that cleanly without having to grind anything, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. So I think I need a lot more practice, and we'll see how it goes. See if I can get a few more on there. It blew right through that one. So let's turn it down. Stuck the tungsten. That stinks. Alright. I probably should sharpen it, but I think I don't have a good sharpener anyway, so I'm going to try a couple more. I don't know what that buzz is. I think the buzz when it does it must mean that it can't get a good connection. That's what I'm guessing, because it did that when I turned on the gas to kind of get a pre-flow when the torch wasn't near anything on the table. So I'm guessing that's what it was. Is that too far away? I think we may want to try a little bit of MIG filler wire and see what we can do just for fun. So I'm going to turn this off. All right, so I got some MIG wire, and I think I'm going to probably just try and do a little, well, maybe I shouldn't even get fancy. I should just stick with simple stuff. This is kind of fun. New toys are always fun, I guess. So I think I'm just going to, what I'll do is I'll just try and run a little short bead along this. So not as good. Not as good as I thought. Let's try it again. Oh. It does seem awfully hot. But I'm going to turn it up a little bit just to see if I can get a better weld puddle. Bit of porosity on the very end, so it's tricky. Definitely needed to be hotter, and I'll have to figure out a way. I think I need to maybe angle the torch a little less angled, because it seems to be that the welding wire is getting vaporized before it even gets to the metal. So I also may need to get it a little shallower. But I think I can kind of see, you get it hot and you can kind of see the front of the weld pedal, and then you just dip it in there and you got to pull it back before it starts to melt in on itself. So let's try it again here. Welding helmet is messing with me. I thought it was the torch that was getting brighter and dimmer, but it's actually my welding helmet. All right. Ooh, that's hot. I also need to get used to this foot pedal, and realizing it's not an on-off switch. It's kind of a get it going and then. Alright. And this is not nearly dark enough. I'm also noticing the arc is jumping around and there's some colors going in it, and I'm guessing it's from this welding wire. I may have to get real. That's pretty hot. And yes, I know I should be using better gloves. Another thing I'm realizing is that I'm gonna have to figure out a way to feed the wire in there without just getting closer and closer and closer. I've seen some people kind of do a little trick with their fingers. I don't know how to do that yet, but I was able to get a little bit of a flat bead there and get some wire in it. So maybe the previous colors that were showing up on the other piece were just contaminated, or maybe it was getting the wire was getting out of the argon, the gas area was getting oxidized. That's possible. Pretty cool. I wonder if I can kind of step join it. Stuck the tungsten again. I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to. This is not comfortable. Huh. I wonder if I can. That's actually easier. Maybe it's just that. I'll be able to see. This is not quite dark enough. Floating around. It's burning my gloves, that's what it is. Starting to get, it's a little bit like soldering actually, if you've ever done that. You get it hot enough and you just tap the little filler on it and let it wet down into there. So it still looks terrible, but it feels like I'm starting to get a little bit of it. It's gonna take a long time to learn. All right, I think that's about it for today. I'll show you what that is what I've done today. Not all that pretty. I don't know if these are even stuck together. Technically they are. Hey, so I made something stick together. I'm gonna keep practicing just for fun. I'll go get some scraps of metal and I'll maybe see if I can get some better gloves and some filler rod and maybe a tungsten